It was the way he said it. Calm, almost casual, like he was asking for coffee. For a second, I honestly thought I had misheard him. I sat there, staring at the glass wall of his office, watching my own reflection blink back at me like it was just as confused as I was. Outside, the city was glowing, lights blinking, people moving, life continuing. Inside, my world had stopped. "Say something," he said softly. That was when I realized this wasn't a joke. This wasn't desperation. This wasn't emotion. This was planned. Before we continue, I'd genuinely love to know where you're listening from right now. Drop it in the comments. If this story already feels intense, a gentle like really helps. And if you enjoy stories that feel real, subscribe and stay with us. Now, let's continue. My name is Elena Carter, and until 10 minutes ago, my biggest problem was whether I'd finished the quarterly report before midnight. I was his executive assistant, nothing more, nothing less. Or at least that's what I thought. Ethan Kross had been my boss for 2 years, CEO, billionaire, the kind of man business magazines called untouchable, the kind of man people whispered about in elevators and admired from a safe distance. He wasn't loud, he wasn't charming in a rehearsed way, he didn't flirt, he watched, he listened, and when he spoke, people leaned in without realizing they were doing it. That night, his office was quieter than usual, no assistants hovering, no board members waiting, just him, the city, and me. "I need you to marry me," he repeated, as if clarity was the problem. I swallowed. I think you need to explain that," I said. He nodded once, already expecting that. "It's a contract marriage," he said. 1 year. My heart started beating faster, not because of romance, because of fear. This wasn't a fantasy. This wasn't a secret crush. This was a legal arrangement being presented like a business deal. "I need stability," he continued. "My investors are nervous. My family is worse." That word changed something in the air. Family. "My parents are hosting a private dinner this weekend. They expect to meet my wife." I laughed, a short, broken sound. "You don't even date," I said. "I schedule your life. I know that." His jaw tightened slightly. "Exactly," he said. That's when it hit me. He wasn't asking because he trusted me emotionally. He was asking because I was convenient. "You know me, my routines, my image, my expectations." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "You need someone controllable," I said quietly. He didn't deny it. "I need someone who won't fall in love," he said. That hurt more than it should have. "I won't touch you unless you agree," he added. "There will be rules, boundaries, compensation." Compensation? Like this was just another line item. I stood up, my legs shaky. "You're asking me to pretend to be your wife in front of your family, your board, the world?" "Yes." "And after 1 year?" I asked. He looked at me then, really looked at me. "After 1 year," he said, "we walk away." I should have said no. Every instinct in my body screamed that this was a terrible idea. A line once crossed could never be uncrossed. But then he said something that changed everything. "There's a dinner tomorrow night," he said. "My parents, my sister, a few board members." I frowned. "That's not this weekend." "No," he replied. "It's tomorrow." My stomach dropped. "And if I don't show up married," he continued, "I lose control of the trust." The room felt smaller. "My father thinks I'm unstable," he said flatly. "He's been waiting for proof." That was the first crack I'd ever seen in him. Not fear, not anger, something heavier. "And what do I get?" I asked. He slid a folder across the desk. The number inside made my breath catch. "This changes your life," he said. He wasn't wrong, but money wasn't what scared me. "What are you not telling me?" I asked. He hesitated. just for a second. "There's something about that dinner," he said. "Something you need to know." My pulse quickened. "What?" He met my eyes. "My family doesn't just judge, they destroy." And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't a fake marriage to impress people. This was a shield, and whatever was waiting at that dinner table, he was afraid to face it alone. I didn't answer him right away, not because I was thinking about romance, not because I was flattered, but because the way he said it felt inevitable. Like this decision had already been made long before I was invited into it. Ethan didn't rush me. He never rushed anything. He moved back to his desk, picked up a thin folder, and placed it between us like an object that might bite if handled carelessly. "Read it," he said. "No pressure, no theatrics." I didn't open it immediately. Instead, I watched him. Ethan Cross didn't look nervous, but there was something tight in his shoulders, something guarded in his eyes. That was when it hit me. This wasn't about image alone. This wasn't just business. Something else was at stake. "I need to know why me," I said finally. Not the corporate answer, the real one. He leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. "My family controls the trust," he said. "My inheritance, voting rights, my daughter's future." That word landed heavier than anything else. "Daughter?" He nodded once. "She's 8, and she's watching everything." The room felt smaller. "I lost her mother 3 years ago," he continued. "Since then, my parents have been concerned." Concerned was a polite word for manipulation. "They believe stability looks like a wife," he said. "They believe love can be manufactured if it looks convincing enough." I swallowed. "And if you don't comply?" He challenged custody, he said. "Not legally, strategically." Silence filled the office again. This time it wasn't awkward. It was heavy. "You're asking me to help you keep your daughter," I said quietly. "I'm asking you to help me protect her," he corrected. I opened the folder. Inside was a contract. Clear, precise, cold. 6 months, public appearances, private boundaries defined in black ink, no intimacy clause, no emotional obligation, an exit plan detailed down to the day. This wasn't a fantasy. This was a war strategy. "You chose me because I don't belong to your world?" "Yes." "Because I won't fall in love?" He didn't answer that immediately. "I chose you because you're honest," he said finally, "because you look people in the eye, because you don't perform." That wasn't a compliment. It was an assessment. "And because," he added, quieter now, "you wouldn't hurt her." I closed the folder. "I need time," I said. He nodded. "Take it." I left his office feeling like I had stepped out of my own life and into someone else's storm. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing the word daughter in my head. I kept imagining a little girl watching from the sidelines, learning what love was supposed to look like, and I hated the idea that it might be a lie. The next morning, I went to the park instead of the office. I watched parents chase their kids across the grass, heard laughter, heard frustration, heard real life. That was when I knew. I didn't agree because of money or fear or loyalty. I agreed because someone innocent was caught in the crossfire. By noon, I was back in Ethan's office. "I'll do it," I said. He didn't smile. He just nodded once. "Thank you." Our first public appearance was scheduled for that same evening, a charity dinner, private guest list, family present, his mother, his father, his sister, the real judges. They dressed me, literally. A stylist arrived with gowns I couldn't pronounce and heels that made my spine ache. I chose a simple black dress. No drama, no glitter. Ethan noticed. You're not trying to impress them. I'm trying not to lie. At the venue, his mother hugged me too tightly. His father barely looked at me. His sister smiled with her mouth, not her eyes. And then came dinner. Crystal glasses, white linen, sharp smiles. They asked questions that weren't questions. How did you meet? When did you know? Why her? Ethan answered smoothly. I answered carefully. Then his mother leaned forward. And children? She asked sweetly. You want more, I assume. The table went still. I felt Ethan's hand brush mine under the table. Not gripping, grounding. We're focused on what's best for Emma, I said calmly. The name did it. His mother's smile froze because I hadn't been briefed on that. I had listened. That night, as we stood on the balcony overlooking the city, Ethan spoke quietly. You didn't miss a detail. I didn't fake anything, I replied. He studied me. Something unreadable passed between us. Inside, the dinner continued. Inside, the lies remained intact. But outside, in the cold air, something fragile had shifted, and neither of us said it out loud. Not yet. Living together changed everything. Not in the dramatic way people imagine. Not arguments, not passion. Silence. The kind that settles into corners. The kind that listens. Ethan's penthouse was pristine, minimal, controlled. Nothing out of place, nothing accidental. I moved in with one suitcase. He noticed. You don't need much, he said. I don't keep what I don't use, I replied. That earned a pause. We learned each other through absence. He drank his coffee black, I drank mine slowly. He worked late, but always came home. Always. At exactly 7:30 every night, Emma FaceTimed. I wasn't part of those calls at first. I stayed in the kitchen, pretended not to listen. But children know. On the fourth night, she asked, Why is she always quiet? Ethan glanced at me. She's just learning, he said. Emma tilted her head on the screen. You can talk to me, she said. That was it. That was the moment. I walked over. I'm Elena, I said gently. I'm very bad at first impressions. She smiled. I'm good at second chances. Ethan looked away. The following weeks blurred. School pickups, board dinners, photographs. My hand in his arm around my back. It looked real. That was the problem. At the office, people changed. They watched us, whispered. Some smiled differently. Others stopped smiling at all. Power rearranges rooms, and now I was part of his. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday. I came home early, earlier than expected. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. I heard voices in the study, Ethan's mother, his sister. Temporary, his mother said sharply. She's useful, not permanent. I froze. She's stabilizing him, the sister replied. That's enough. And the child? His mother asked. She's getting attached. That's the risk, the sister said. Risk. I stepped back. They didn't know I was home. That night, Ethan noticed something off. You're distant, he said. I heard them, I replied. He didn't ask who. He knew. I won't let them hurt you, he said. They already decided I'm disposable, I answered. He was silent for a long time. I didn't hire you to be a shield, he said finally. I hired you to survive. And if survival costs me? I asked. His jaw tightened. I don't know, he admitted. That honesty hurt more than a lie. Days later, the dinner happened, the one that changed everything. Private estate, old money, the trust committee present. I wore ivory. Ethan wore restraint. Emma sat between us. Halfway through dessert, his father stood. To stability, he said. glasses lifted. Then he turned to me. "And to gratitude," he added, "for stepping in when necessary." Necessary. I smiled. Then I spoke. "I'm not here because I was needed," I said calmly. "I'm here because I chose to be." The room stiffened. "I chose to protect Emma," I continued. "I chose honesty over comfort, and I chose Ethan because he didn't ask me to disappear." His mother's face went pale. "That wasn't part of the agreement," she said quietly. "It was part of my integrity," I replied. Silence crashed down. Emma reached for my hand. That was the mistake, because love, once visible, can't be negotiated away. Later that night, Ethan found me on the balcony. "You didn't have to do that," he said. "I know, but I won't be erased politely." He looked at me, really looked. "For the first time," he said, "I don't know how this ends." I nodded. "Neither do I." Inside, the dinner resumed, contracts still breathing, power still shifting, but something irreversible had happened. They had seen us, and fear had entered the room. After the dinner, nothing went back to normal. That was the lie everyone kept telling themselves. The estate returned to quiet. The guests left. The staff cleared plates and pretended nothing had cracked. But power never forgets being challenged. Ethan became colder in public, sharper, more controlled than ever. At home, he was different, quieter, like a man standing inside a room that had lost its walls. Emma noticed first. "You're thinking too loud," she told him one night. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You hear everything, don't you?" he asked. She nodded, then looked at me. "She doesn't lie," Emma said. That was when I realized the danger wasn't the family anymore. It was the truth becoming visible. A week later, the trust's lawyer called. Emergency meeting, no explanation. Ethan didn't ask questions. He never did when the answer would hurt. We drove in silence. His hand rested on the steering wheel too tightly. Inside the boardroom, the tone was polite. That was worse. They didn't accuse, they suggested. Public image concerns, attachment risks, long-term instability. Then the sentence arrived. The marriage has served its purpose. I felt it before Ethan spoke. "You want her gone," he said calmly. The lawyer smiled. "We want what's best for Emma." I stood up. "No," I said. "You want control back." Silence. "You don't get to erase people once they stop being convenient," I continued. "She isn't a clause." The lawyer looked annoyed. "You were hired," he said. "You're not family." Ethan stood. "She is," he said. That single word changed the room. The lawyer blinked. "I don't think you understand." "I do," Ethan interrupted, "and so does the trust." He turned to me. "They're going to freeze assets," he said quietly. "They'll try to force a separation." My throat tightened. "And Emma?" I asked. His voice dropped. "They'll use her." That night, I didn't sleep. I packed a bag, not because I wanted to leave, because I refused to be used as leverage. Ethan found me at the door. "Don't," he said. "This isn't your war," I replied. "It became ours the moment you spoke at that table." Emma stood in the hallway. "What's happening?" she asked. I knelt in front of her. "Sometimes," I said gently, "grown-ups confuse control with love." She looked at Ethan. "Are you scared?" she asked him. He nodded. "Me too," she said, "but she stays." Decision. Final. The trust moved fast. Accounts stalled. Media whispers started. Anonymous leaks. Contract wife. Emotional manipulation. Calculated intimacy. I became a headline. Ethan became a liability. One article crossed a line. It mentioned Emma. I watched Ethan read it, watched something inside him break. That night, he didn't sleep either. He sat on the floor of the study. No phone, no plans, just hands folded. "I failed her once," he said. I sat beside him. "You didn't," I replied. "You protected her." "By dragging her into this?" he asked bitterly. "By showing her what choosing looks like," I said. He closed his eyes. "I don't know how to win," he admitted. "You don't," I said. "You endure." The final meeting came unexpectedly. His father arrived alone. No lawyers, no assistants, just a man who had never lost control before. "You embarrassed us," he said. Ethan didn't respond. "You endangered the trust," his father continued. Still nothing. "And you chose her," the man finished. Ethan finally spoke. "I chose Emma." Silence. "That woman," his father said coldly, "will leave." Ethan stood. "No," he said, "she won't." His father steadied him. "You've never disobeyed me." His voice didn't shake. "I've never been free before." The old man exhaled slowly. "Then prepare to lose everything." Ethan nodded. "I already have." After he left, Ethan leaned against the wall. His hands trembled. I took them. "We're still standing," I said. "For how long?" he asked. "As long as we need to," I replied. That night, Emma crawled into our bed. She didn't ask permission. She didn't need to. "Are we okay?" she whispered. Ethan pulled her close. "Yes," he said, and for the first time, it wasn't a lie. Losing everything sounds dramatic. In reality, it's quieter than people expect. It begins with doors not opening, calls not returned, accounts that load forever and never finish. Ethan woke up the next morning without a single alert on his phone. No board messages, no updates, no threats. Silence. That was how they punished him. Emma went to school like nothing had changed. I watched her braid her hair, humming softly, unaware that her entire world had just been placed on a balance sheet. Ethan stood at the window. "They're waiting," he said. "For what?" I asked. "For me to panic." He didn't. He cooked breakfast instead. Burned the toast. Emma laughed. Something inside me cracked at that sound, because joy had become an act of rebellion. By noon, the first domino fell. The foundation withdrew sponsorships. Partners distanced themselves. Friends stopped answering invitations. Ethan didn't chase them. He closed his laptop. "They want me desperate," he said. "They want me alone." I took his hand. "You're not." That afternoon, a knock came at the door. A woman stood outside, late 40s, no makeup, sharp eyes. "I'm Grace Holloway," she said. "I used to run crisis management for your family." "Used to." "I resigned this morning," she added. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Why?" he asked. She looked at me. "Because I have a daughter," she said, "and I recognized that dinner table." She handed Ethan a folder. "Your father made mistakes," she continued, "and for the first time, people are ready to see them. Inside were documents, emails, cover-ups, control tactics disguised as protection. The trust isn't clean," she said, "and neither is the board." Ethan exhaled slowly. "You're risking everything," he said. She shrugged. "So are you." That night, we didn't talk about strategy. We talked about Emma, about schools, about weekends, about whether stability could exist without wealth. "I don't care where we live," Emma said, overhearing us, "as long as you're both there." Ethan looked at her. "I might not be able to give you everything," he said. She shrugged. "You already do." The lawsuit came the next morning. Custody challenge. That was the line. Ethan read the papers once, then he stood up. "They're done," he said quietly. Court was brutal. Not loud, not dramatic, just sharp. They questioned my motives, my past, my intentions. They implied manipulation. Ethan didn't interrupt. He waited. When it was his turn, he stood. "My daughter watched her mother die," he said. The room stilled. She watched silence replace laughter and control replace care. He looked directly at the judge. "I chose a woman who speaks when power misuses its voice." He gestured to me. "She didn't save my reputation. She saved my child." The judge didn't react, but the air changed. 3 days later, the ruling came. Custody remained untouched. The trust was ordered into review. The board fractured. Ethan lost his title. He kept his daughter. We packed again, this time not in fear, in choice. The house emptied slowly. Each room felt lighter. Ethan stood in the doorway one last time. "I thought this place made me," he said. "It just hid you," I replied. We moved somewhere smaller, quieter. No gates, no guards. Emma rode her bike in the street. Neighbors waved. One night, weeks later, Ethan sat beside me on the couch. "I don't know what comes next," he said. I smiled. "Neither do I." He took my hand. "That's new," he said softly. That was when I realized something. The billionaire hadn't lost everything. He had lost the illusion and gained a life. Freedom didn't arrive like a celebration. It came quietly, in routines that no longer needed permission. Ethan woke up without checking headlines, without waiting for approval, without the weight of expectation pressing against his ribs. Emma adjusted faster than either of us expected. She walked to school on her own, learned the names of neighbors, left her shoes by the door without being told. She laughed more. That mattered. The first time Ethan cooked dinner in the new place, he forgot the salt. Emma didn't complain. She ate anyway. "Mom would have liked this," she said. Not sadly, just honestly. Ethan paused, then nodded. "I think she would have," he replied. Grief didn't disappear, it softened. That was the difference. Weeks passed, no calls from the board, no lawyers, no threats disguised as concern. Grace checked in once. "They're still unraveling," she said, "but they can't touch you anymore." Ethan thanked her, then went back to fixing a leaky faucet. He learned how to fail at small things and discovered that nothing terrible happened when he did. One evening, after Emma fell asleep on the couch between us, Ethan spoke. "You know," he said quietly, "I hired you because I was afraid of being alone. I waited. I kept you because you showed me I already was," he continued, "and that it wasn't survivable until I stopped pretending." I didn't answer right away, because truth doesn't need applause. "Do you regret it?" he asked. I looked at Emma's sleeping face, at the faint scar on Ethan's knuckle from the night he punched a wall instead of shouting. "No," I said. "I regret the system that taught you control was love." He exhaled slowly. "So do I." The final paperwork arrived a month later. Clean, simple. The contract ended. No clauses, no penalties, no future obligations. Ethan signed it without hesitation, then slid it across the table to me. "I don't want to pretend anymore," he said. I didn't reach for the pen. I folded the paper instead, carefully, and placed it in the drawer. "Then don't," I said. Silence settled between us, comfortable, unforced. Not a moment asking for more, just space being shared. Later that night, Ethan stood in the doorway of Emma's room. She was asleep, clutching a stuffed bear. "I don't know how to do this next part," he admitted. You don't have to know. You just have to stay. He nodded and stayed. Months later, I was offered my old life back. A call, an opportunity, a version of success that had once felt important. I declined. Not because of Ethan, because I had learned the cost of power without presence. Emma asked me one afternoon, "Are you leaving?" I knelt beside her. "No," I said. "But if I ever do, it won't be because I was pushed." She smiled. "Okay." That was trust. Ethan watched us from the kitchen. Later, he said, "You didn't just choose us. You let us choose you." That was the difference. Love didn't arrive in a dramatic confession. It arrived in shared mornings, in unguarded silence, in a man who no longer mistook dominance for devotion. The billionaire didn't lose his empire at a dinner table. He lost his fear there. And what replaced it was quieter, stronger, real. If this story stayed with you, take a second. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. A gentle like helps more than you think, and subscribing keeps stories like this alive.